Hello all, welcome to part 2 of module 7 in the Security Tube Python scripting course and certification. In this video, we will look at automating tasks for SSH using paramiko. So paramiko is a module which unfortunately does not ship with the reference implementation. This is something you will have to download and install yourself. However, paramiko is probably the easiest way to create SSH and SFTP clients. Practically, I think you can write an SSH client in 5 lines. Of course, what I'd like to take this opportunity to mention is you can create similar SSH clients using pexpect as well, and it also has a kind of accompanying library specific for SSH, which you can have a look at and try things out. So let's go ahead and have a look at paramiko. Now, in order to install paramiko, you could probably just go ahead and do an easy install. Paramiko. On my machine, this is already installed, so there's nothing much to do. But after you run this command, paramiko should download and install on your machine. Now let's try and understand how this module works. So let's go ahead, let's hit Python and import paramiko. Now to create an SSH client, it's as simple as just invoking paramiko.SSHClient. That's it. Now, as you can clearly imagine, we have not given the domain name, the username, the password, and all of that. So we can do that by going ahead and mentioning all of this as an input to connect. So connect is similar to what you've seen in socket, right? Where you can call connect and it connects to a specific port. In this case, paramiko will connect to a specific host. Use the username demo and the password demo123 to go ahead and finish this. In the sense, now, but you'll notice something very interesting. Let me try and run this, and if you notice, we got an exception which says unknown server localhost. Now, in the beginning, you may probably mistakenly think that what this means is for some reason localhost is not reachable. No, that is not the case at all. If you've ever done connections via SSH, you would notice in the beginning it shows you that little key and says, hey, do you want to accept this key and go ahead? Now, unfortunately, when you're working with the paramiko library directly, it does not specifically give you any such prompt, right? And that's the reason why it fails, because by default it is not going to accept new keys. So in order to make this run before we hit connect, what we need to do is go ahead and set a policy saying, hey, you know what, add those keys automatically, don't worry about it. Now once you do this and we go back to run connect, this would faithfully succeed. Now you are connected to the SSH server. There are tons of things you can do. I mean, you can refer to the SSH client library documentation, which comes as part of paramiko. Let me show you one of the most common tasks, which is using the method exec_command. This is typically used to execute remote programs via SSH. Now the best part is similar to what we learned in subprocess and the p opens and all of that. Exec_command allows you to map the process which you're executing remotely, it's std in, std out, and std error, to basically correspond to these local variables, which you can then use to read and write to that remote process. Awesome. So I'm just doing a very simple example, and the whole idea is just to go ahead and do a cat on etc password, and then as you can clearly see, if you want to go ahead and print out what is there in the password file, all we do is very simply call this in a loop, and etc password is printed out, right? Because all you now have to do is treat std out basically as the output sent to you by that remote program, which was cat etc password, right? And then finally, once you're done, similar to sockets, you can just do an SSH close, and it's done, right? So the best part is that you can run remote commands. Doesn't necessarily has to be as simplistic as etc password, cat etc password. You can run complicated ones. You can even run programs which may stay resident, and you interact with them, send them various parameters and all of that stuff, right? Awesome. So coming back, what I would recommend you to do is, based on paramiko, try and write a SSH brute forcing program. So as many of you may have seen that little Metasploit module with which you can give it a set of usernames and passwords, and it will try a dictionary attack against the SSH service. Try and create this. In the next video, I'll show you how simple it is to create a SSH dictionary attack program using paramiko. That's all for this video. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please write them in the student forums, and we will get back to you as soon as possible.